when we are asked to be a witness, we have to support that particular case or that particular cause or that particular issue. If I am called to be a witness for somebody who needs my support to substantiate his or her stand, I should boldly stand there and give that real support so that that person who has called me as a witness to support his or her case and substantiate with evidence, then I'm sure I have given real support to that person. So if you are called as a witness, you are supposed to substantiate what that person is really standing for. And now we clearly see that Jesus expects each and every one of us to stand as witness for his life, death, and resurrection. Now we see all this happening in the early Christian community because they received the first-hand report of Jesus, and therefore for them it was easy. Today it should be much easier because we have seen so many lives of people who stood as witness for Christ. That is why St. Paul says that if I don't have the material to show that I belong to Christ, I am an hopeless witness. But when I say I put on Christ, I stand there with all the required evidences, and I have enough matter to stand and tell that Jesus is my Lord and Master. And therefore you find Jesus expecting his disciples to become real witnesses. That is the reason why he says, if you acknowledge me before men, I will acknowledge you before the angels. Now when he says, I will acknowledge you before the angels, it means that he is also going to make you stand there in heaven before all the angels and saints and saying, this is the person who stood there and spoke such beautiful words of witness. And that is how he honors us. When we know Christ wants us to be witnesses, and when we also know that he will honor us so beautifully, we still waver in our being a witness. Therefore he says, okay, if you are not able to stand there as a witness for me, I will forgive you. But if you say that the Holy Spirit is not a God, the Holy Spirit is not the power, when we blaspheme against the Holy Spirit, then he says, I will not forgive you. Why? Now Jesus also again brings in that matter of saying, the Holy Spirit empowers you to be a witness. And when you can't stand as a witness, then you are blaspheming about the power of the Holy Spirit, because he said, my Spirit will tell you what to speak at that hour. Do not be worried. And if you really rely on the power of the Holy Spirit, you will find that the words coming out of your mouth are formed and put inside your mouth by the power of the Holy Spirit. I'm sure when you prepare yourself for exams or you prepare yourself for an interview, you pray to the Holy Spirit and then appear, and then you stand there. Then you find how the memory starts working, how the power of the Holy Spirit starts working. And you are so courageous that you are not frightened about your body. You are not frightened about the person against whom you are speaking for Christ. And that is how Jesus says very clearly, do not be anxious. What I am going to tell for Christ, you just call upon the Spirit of God, and the Spirit of God will put words in your mouth. And I have believed in this part very, very clearly. I'm convinced when I pray to the Holy Spirit, I'm able to speak to you. I am able to stand before anyone. I am able to face any kind of problem. Why? Because I call upon the Spirit. Every morning and before I go to bed, I pray that prayer, come Holy Spirit, fill the hearts of you. Why? Because it empowers me. If you are not empowered, then Jesus says you have lost everything. That is the reason why we see St. Ignatius of Antioch, a great example, how he stood there in front of the emperor to speak so boldly. Who gave him that courage? It was not his efficiency or intellect, but rather the power of the Holy Spirit. Who made him walk so boldly in an amphitheater when the lions were all there? And how those words came, that I will be a wheat in the teeth of those lions, grounded, for every wheat shall die and rise to new life. He believed that standing for Christ will give him new life. For us to stand for Christ will always give us new life.